Well, hello. Today's project, we're going to go ahead and assemble this 454 big block Chevrolet engine. It's going to go into a custom built Corvette, and it's probably only going to be driven on the weekends. We're going to build this thing pretty radical. But anyways, I'm going to show you step-by-step directions how to put this thing together. As you can see, I've already sent the block into the machine shop. Had a hot tank and Magnaflux. Checked it for cracks. This engine wasn't very old, actually. It was just worn out from running in this hot rod, so we're going to go ahead and freshen it up. But anyways, I had it. The cylinders honed out, as you can see. All the cylinder surface area has been honed, so it's fresh metal showing. I had all the main bearing journals checked and lightly brushed, so they're perfectly aligned to put this crankshaft back in. Also, we went ahead and installed new cam bearings, which are these bearings right here, which guide the camshaft right through the center of the engine there. That's a real important factor. Anytime you're working on an engine or rebuilding an engine, you always want to replace the cam bearings, because that could be a weak spot in your oiling system. Worn out cam bearings will usually result in low oil pressure, so that's something you definitely want to avoid. So I always put new cam bearings. They're cheap, only about $10 or $15 on this engine. I also recommend using brass freeze plugs. This guy already had brass freeze plugs in it, so we left them alone. But normally on any engine rebuild, you're going to replace those. Like I said, this thing only had about 1 year's worth of use on it before we took it apart again. So we have the crankshaft polished. This is a brand new steel crankshaft the customer bought when he built the engine, and it's all balanced. So we go ahead and put standard bearings back on that. This is the pistons. These actually have pop-up pistons. As you can see, the dome on top. These are going to run about 11:1 compression ratio, which is going to require very high octane fuel. I don't recommend that for the street unless you like to buy gas. So I had all the valves reground. Went ahead and bought some high temperature oil seals to put on those. I'll show you those later when we install it. Machine shop also pre-measured all of the valve springs and shims and did all the math for me, so I can install this thing without any problems. We're using some high performance valve springs which match the camshaft and the rocker arms we're using. We also have our timing chain set, our lifter set. We're using a high volume oil pump on this because we have a high RPM engine and we have an extra large oil pan, so we're going to go ahead and use that so we make sure we have enough oil lubrication going through that engine. We also have our set of main bearings, our set of connecting rod bearings, a heavy duty steel oil pump shaft with a steel oil pump shaft retainer on it. That's something I recommend also if you're going to build any kind of hot rod. A new set of piston rings and our custom ground high performance camshaft here. We also have a good gasket set, complete engine gasket set. Try to buy the best quality that your machine shop carries. It's a real cheap, good investment on building any kind of engine. Then also we have all the rest of the goodies here. I'm going to go ahead and put all the accessories on for them. Got a nice high performance flywheel, big Holly carburetor, looks like a Victor manifold, and he's got a nice dress up kit for it too. Good spark plug wires, distributor, all the goodies in there. And then our cylinder heads, I brought these into the machine shop and had them Magnafluxed and hot tanked and checked for cracks. They've already gone ahead and ground all the valve seats for me and took care of a few valve guides that needed replacing. Like I said, this was an engine that wasn't very old, so we only replaced what it needed, but normally you'd replace all of them. So we're going to go ahead and build these heads now, and after that we'll put the short block together and assemble the whole engine.